Yo, yo, yo. It's Thursday, the best streaming night of the week. I'm your boy High Five Vega, joined as always by Dean Bayette, 5 Star Car Stereo, the master of zip ties. He does all these things, and he travels a lot.
How are you, sir?
Doing good. How about you?
It's all right. It's Thursday, so whatever that means. But
Yeah,
it's
the
always
week's almost over for me. You got an extra. My
shut.
Thursday is your Friday.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Is the week ever really over when you only have one day off?
no,
Yeah.
it's not. It's just a continuation of,
Yeah.
and it's always funny because I'll get the Paul come over and he'll be like, "Hey, you remember this?" No, we did. No, dude. Why would I remember? It's all just a blur. It's
Yeah,
all
there's
just
no
a blur.
separation. You have no
No.
separation.
It's like, well, we did this. I don't remember Monday, let alone like 2 weeks ago. Like, it's all just,
Yeah. Well,
you know.
I didn't know that mailmen work 6 days a week. I didn't know that until I met somebody that worked in the mail. So
Well, that
you're pretty
sucks.
much a mailman at this point.
I mean, I feel like a mailman.
So what you got going on? What's going on?
Not much. I mean, not much really. It's been one of those weeks that we're just, it's back to back, like back to
Yeah.
back, big big job. It's like, honestly, I don't even know how many cars we work. It's hard, the funny thing is working 6 days a week is that you don't really remember what week what happened.
Right.
So like Monday, I mean, I could go back to like Instagram and that kind of fills me in, like, oh yeah, we did this on Monday. And
Yeah.
I was like, because I was like, what did we do? Like, I it was weird because it was like, all right, I know we put a Kenwood in something, but I don't remember what it was.
Right.
And yeah, it was weird. Like, I know we did a car the other day that had 2 sound digital amplifiers in it, 2 little tiny ones, and it was like, oh, that was fun. And he was like, I don't want them underneath the seat, so we made a board and they went where the factory amplifier was, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then, like, oh yeah, I think we had a Toyota or something, a Tundra or Tacoma Tundra come in. We did a
Yeah.
Morel system where we bridged the 901.5 to the front 3-way set. I think we put a radio in that too. And it's just one of those things where it's like, and this week has just been like the train car. It's like you're done in the middle. Like, it's like, let's say you get one car done at 2, and there's already the second car is waiting in the parking lot that's going to be there. And so it's like we're working on we finished a car in the middle of the day today, which led to another car that's still in the install bay. And it's just like, yeah, well, I have no idea what the frick is going on.
Like, when's the day that this stops? Never.
And it's always fun. I always find Saturday funny because it's like, oh, it's got to be done by Saturday. Why?
There's Sunday, then Monday.
Yeah. I mean, Monday it all starts over again. So what does it matter? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not like we're finishing something.
A SEMA build. It's
just like, it's days of a week. But I understand how normal people think, because normal people, it's like Monday through Friday and then those 2 days to recoup. And it's whatever. It has nothing to do with car stereo, but yeah.
Actually, it does. It does, because like Monday rolls up and most people have to work like 9 to 5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like an issue. Like, oh, am I going to get the car Monday? Like, what time? I'll pick it up after work.
I can tell you, if you're, I mean, very rarely does somebody that drops the car off on Monday get it back Monday.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the funny thing. Like, okay, twice this week I've had Paul come over, which it thoroughly pisses me off. This is your Dean rant that pisses me off. So a guy will call and say, hey, I have X type car. And I want it installed, but I got to pick up the car by 2. Okay. Well, then we're not doing it that day. Well, that's the only day I have to do it. And clearly we're still not doing it that day.
Right.
Because it's like, I don't personally care what your time frame is. Like, I'm not going to, like, shit takes what it takes. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not like I'm building a expressway
Right.
and I have 3 shifts that I can run, these guys on, and I can drop everyone an extra $10 an hour, because if we can finish it by the 31st, then we get an extra, whatever, it's not how
Right.
it works. It's like,
No.
no, dude, it's like, you want me to do this, it takes
This
time,
is what it takes. Yeah.
and your schedule doesn't jive with our schedule. So we need to figure out when you have the time to let us do it. Because, it's twice this. And the thing that irritates me is because, Paul come over and he'll be like, "Hey, man, did you think?" And I'll be like, "No.
Yeah.
No, why would you even ask? You know how long this shit takes." I mean, we'll be literally working on the same job that he'll ask me about.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "It's the same thing we're doing here. Like, we've had this car for a day. We're not going to be done with it until middle of the day tomorrow. How could we get it done in a day? Like, it's a
Yeah.
harder car to work on, you
Right.
know?"
And what happens? What happens if you get it done that day? Oh, guess what? You get to work on another one tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, that's
There's
just
no
it,
rainbow. There's no
No,
like
no, there is
rainbow at
no
the end of
rainbow,
it.
because it's not like, "Oh, hey, good job, you got it done early." And
Yeah.
what's the oldest piece of equipment that you've installed in a car recently? I had to put an 18-year-old amp in my car over the weekend because my Alpine M12 needed to be sent to the sick bay. It's funny. I had a guy, one of the cars that came in, he had a bunch of old equipment that I didn't even look at. And it was kind of funny, because a thought occurred to me while I was looking at this pile of old equipment. And I was like, to somebody, this pile of shit is like, oh my
Right.
God. But to me, I look at it and go, dumpster out back, maybe screwed to the wall.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it in a car.
Right.
But I mean, and there again, I know that sounds kind of pretentious, but I also look at it like, man, I don't want to get that back. And also, you go, okay, so I'm going to put in this amplifier that's this big. It's 4 times the amount of power of both of these amplifiers. It's going to draw less current. It's going to sound better. No.
Yeah. That's like me with the Rockford Fosgate T1504.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's not going in a car.
No.
It's just
No.
like,
No.
I got it. It's cool. That's where we're at with it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Although I'm an idiot, so I may put it in a car just for video.
Okay. Yeah. But for us, it's like, you look at it and you're like, oh man, like, nah.
Yeah.
No. It's
yeah.
because
There's too much compromises.
Well, it's too much. It's just too much. It's like,
yeah.
With what it costs to put an amplifier in a car these days. I mean, it's expensive. There's no, like, if you're doing it yourself, if you DIY an amplifier yourself, what's a 4-gauge kit run about? $120 now?
Yeah, around there, around $100.
120 bucks, depending on whose kit you're buying. And you got an RCA, so anywhere between, let's say, 15 to $50 for a set of RCAs. And that's if you just need a 2-channel, so you figure between 15 and $60. So you got almost between $150 to $200 worth of parts to do it right.
And that's saying you don't need some kind of line output converter.
Yeah, right. Or a person to do it.
Yeah.
So, and then you go, okay, so I'm going to install this amplifier that's worth about $65 on the open market right now, because it's just an old thing.
Yeah.
Do I want to wait? I mean, I can and then what you're going to do is you're going to get that install that looks like, I'm going to clean it up later. I just wanted to get it in and make sure it works.
Yeah.
And you're just going,
well, even if you get a dope install and you've got this old equipment, well, you didn't get the caps changed out by somebody before.
Yeah.
This got in there. Well, guess what happens? One of them goes leaky, and then you got a small fire, and you just got a big old headache, especially if it's a Phoenix Gold. They had They had ridiculous problems with those
Yeah.
for the MS years.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the other, I mean, dude, I mean, I guess the modern equivalent of that is like when you look at like a Q class. I mean, a Q
Yeah.
class is a great amplifier, and I still love it. And it's like I want to keep mine, but when you just look at how inefficient that amplifier was, it's
Yeah.
like we all wanted it to stay, but Kicker's just sitting there going, "No, man, it's like, dude, it's a dog." Like,
Yeah.
it's not for the modern car. And then you look at something like the new Arc Audio Blackbird, and you go, "Oh yeah, this is not for a modern car." The Q class can just, and you look at this little tiny sexy thing. Yeah,
Right.
that was fun. Next page.
Well, and the Q class was small comparatively.
Yeah.
In 2000, an amp like that would have been 3 times the size. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Okay. I mean, as you guys know, I'm an avid collector of all things old and new. I like it all. I just also kind of realize what it should be used for. I mean,
yeah,
I got a 225 HCCA that works, but it hangs out on the board because
yeah,
it's cooler there.
yeah.
It
Well,
it
and
was yep.
you also have the added thing of like if something breaks or whatever, they're gonna come back to you, even though you have no control over an old ass amp breaking.
Right.
It is what it is. But you're still gonna like, hey, did you possibly do something like this amp? No, it's 44 years old, my guy. Like, it's like,
dude, it's from the 90s, man. Let it go. Let it go. Dude, it worked great back then.
Yeah.
So did your refrigerator. How many of those have you changed in the amount of time? Shit just doesn't last forever. Yeah. I mean, it was funny too because we had some visitors stop by this week, and from a manufacturer, and one of them had never been to the install bay before.
Yeah.
And so we kind of, a lot of times in the video you see what's going on, but they don't always pay attention to that stuff. So it's kind of like explaining what each thing on the wall means and why it's there. And it's a lot. I like the guy said, it's wall art. You just use it for wall art. And a lot of the stuff that we have on the walls in the install bay are just that. They're wall art. And we use them for props some of the time, but a lot of the times it's just cool to look at.
I think it's cool to get people that were into audio in the 90s or whatever, and they remember this old amp just like I did, and pick it up off of eBay. It's like, oh man, like I always wanted this amp. I got this amp. Then you start thinking about installing it. Well, while you're doing that, you're like, let me see what's out here now.
Right.
And then you start looking, you're like, whoa, like this stuff's like way smaller, more efficient, cost literally a tenth of the price for the amount of power you're getting. And then you start dialing back your install dreams after you've had some bad experience with old school. Like me, I've had plenty of amps that I bought just to test that were blown. I bought a Orion that literally blew up a $200 bookshelf speaker, smoked it because it was put in DC current. So yeah, I mean I've been burned by it even recently. So
yeah. Oh hey, you're welcome, 76 ground pounder. It's always cool when people stop by the install bay. Yeah, it's not. It's kind of nice every now and then.
Yeah.
But it just kind of breaks up the monotony of it. It's like, oh hey, what are we doing today? Car stereo. What are we doing tomorrow? Car stereo. What are we gonna do next week? Car stereo. Hey, so Fernando made me what I like to call the 7 circles of hell today at work. He made me listen to a show, and one of the takeaways from it, and I was like, I don't want to talk about this, but I want to talk about it. If you're going to do a show on whatever topic it is, whatever topic, not necessarily car stereo, but if you're going to do a show on a topic, maybe the guest you have on should know something about the topic when you ask them a question about it. Like, like know your guest, kind of like.
Why would they have the guest? So wait up. They had a topic, but the guests had nothing to do with the topic? or no
The
knowledge
guest
of the topic.
the guest was a very weak version of the topic. So it's like,
Yeah,
picture a guest that was okay, knows a little bit about the topic. So just
yeah,
like if I took you into a training and said, talk to me about all pass filters, and you just kind of look at me and go, what do you want to learn about batteries?
yeah,
And I go, oh, you know, because that's, it's what you know.
right,
But but you understand a little bit of car audio. It's like, I can't talk to that, but I can talk to these things,
right.
But then I have you on and I say, tell me about all this shit. And you're like, that's really not what. But you still try to give me an answer,
Oh no,
and you're just like, this is fuck. Why are you? And then the host himself is just kind of like not very good either, and he's making me listen to this shit. And I'm like, will you stop? Like, oh, he's just loving it. He's loving every minute of it because he knows it's driving me crazy.
yeah.
And I'm just like, God, just.
Sometimes you got to embrace the awkwardness. Awkwardness is funny.
I don't think it wasn't awkward. It was just annoying because he likes to do shit like that just to prove a point, and it's like, stop.
There's value in just being like, I don't know. just just being upfront and being like, I don't.
Yeah, it's
know.
not my
I don't
thing,
know.
bro. It's
Right.
not my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's if someone started asking me about ground or not about Sundown,
Right.
it's not my wheelhouse, man. I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah, it's just not what you deal with.
Just no.
Yeah. Well, it's and then like an enthusiast, which this whole show based talking to somebody about day-to-day car audio in the future, it's totally different. It's like worlds apart on like what you deal with day to day and what an enthusiast might be looking at day to day.
Well, that was kind of the premise for the show when we came up
Right.
with it. It was like, all right, you're an enthusiast, a hobbyist, or whatever it was, or is, and I do it every day. So, it's both sides of the spinning wheel of doom, or I mean, both sides of the spinning wheel of car audio.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was. Yeah, I was like, God, stop, just stop.
That's how it be sometimes. So, do you have anything else going on? I got something for show and tell. So,
Let's do it.
So, I've been waiting on a subwoofer to come in to finish this budget Elite 8 bracket. Most people know, if they watch other video, the American bass is the other one. So this one, I mean, you guys will get to see it early, but this is the other one I picked up.
Do you have a dumpster out back?
Dude, so I had to. People love Pioneer.
Oh, dude, you're not going to be disappointed with that woofer. Like that woofer. Fuck. God, yes. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's plastic.
Yeah.
It's a
and it's just like magnet. Leather on here.
Sure.
It's like something.
Yeah, it feels really weird. Pioneer's been doing that for a while now with weird. No. Oh, dude, trust me. You put the right amount of power to that thing, it is going to get down and boogie.
I got some power. I've got 3,000 watts, but it'll see about 1,000.
That's probably too much. But
yeah, that's how I do. That's how I do.
Okay.
Maybe we can blow this plastic thing off the back.
Nah, you won't. You'll just launch the voice coil. But no, listen, they make decent speakers. There's no doubt about it. We've put in, but power handling is never one of their things. Now, on the opposite side of the coin, Pioneer has made some of the like giant, massive SPL speakers back in the day.
Which these are the championship edition as well.
So. Yeah, they're just riding that wave.
Yeah. They've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, Champion Series.
Right.
What are you guys playing? Water polo? I mean,
exactly.
See you guys later. Kids' homework time. Oh, I don't miss that.
Yeah,
I don't miss that.
Especially because I didn't know what they were doing. After 6th grade, I was like, I don't understand.
Oh yeah, no, you're out. You're out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but right now, Pioneer's getting a bad rap, deservingly so. So, because they're just doing dumb shit as far as I'm concerned, and that's just my opinion. They're gonna hate me for it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But they've done some really good things in the past, but that's one of the problems of car audio. If you think about it, is a lot of these car audio companies like to live off of past accolades.
Right.
You know, and everyone's guilty of it. It's not, there's nobody not guilty of it. And that's really like annoying. I had a guy come in this week and was like, bro, you know, I was so excited. I was watching one of your videos and like there was a Precision Power was there. And I was like, oh my God, Precision Powers, like they're back. And then it was like, they're not.
No.
You know, I was like, no, there's, you know, and then it was
That's
kind of
Max
like,
Sonics, my guy. That's Max Sonics.
yeah, it was like, then it was like, all right, so here's kind of what's going on in the world of
Right.
car audio. And it was like, you know, and then as I was talking about it, I was just kind of laughing because it was like, man, there is just so much weird shit with these companies.
Right.
And yeah, it was just dumb. I was just
Well,
like,
you know, you had so we kind of have the big three here, which would be like Kicker, JL, and Rockford.
yep.
And they always have a baseline of quality, no matter the product. You know, it's like you're not going to buy anything that for the price that you're overpaying for. I think on the flip side, you have like the Japanese. I guess it's a quad because you have Kenwood, Alpine, Pioneer, and Sony
Well, yeah, but see now that's where you're wrong.
because they're Chinese now. But
Because Pioneer is straight Chinese
yeah,
and Kenwood is actually JVC Kenwood.
right now, but I'm just talking about in the same time frame that they were out. Like I'm talking
Well,
late '90s.
well, if you're talking late 90s, then you also had Clarion. And you also
Right.
had Eclipse, and you
But
also had
those were kind of smaller though. Those were
Eclipse
never
was huge, man.
well, not
Fujitsu?
just in cardio. Yeah, but they had like what a couple of amps
Yeah, but
and
it doesn't matter. Fujitsu killed it, man. Eclipse had you, dude. If you talk
yeah,
to any nerd from the 90s, man,
yeah.
they're like, bro, my Eclipse, blah, 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 was the best radio I ever owned. And I'm like,
Until it locked you out because you forgot the damn code.
okay, yeah, there's that. But I mean, you know, or you lost the CD. But it was
Yeah, yeah,
cool. It was cool. Yeah, Denon. You know, hey,
yeah,
Iowa. But Iowa, I think was straight. I think by then even Iowa was
yeah,
Chinese in
yeah.
the
They,
90s.
I don't ever remember. They had like a few things that were cool, but
But I don't think Iowa was Japanese at that point.
yeah.
You had Sansui, but that was home. But yeah, Sansui
Mhm.
made car stuff too. So I mean, but there again, and then you had Real Nakamichi.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Real
So
Nakamichi
I mean,
was dope.
the 90s, and that was the thing we were talking about. It's like the 90s car audio, man,
Yeah.
it was huge. It was
Right.
it was it was a huge array, Iowa. Yeah.
Well, because we
Um,
bring in other U.S. manufacturers, PPI, Orion,
yeah,
Extant. If we're breaching out, I'm talking like the ones that kind of stuck around and like the big guys in the
yeah, that
room
didn't die.
that didn't die.
That didn't die.
That's really what I
I
meant.
mean, when you look at the playing field from 1990 to 2021,
Yeah.
you have JL Audio, you have Kicker, you have Rockford, JVC Kenwood, Sony, Alpine,
Hmm.
Audio Control. Okay, because they
Right.
still exist, even though they're
Yep.
you know, Amp Global was big, Metro was big. Um,
What was Amp Global doing in the '90s? Was it all just
it was Amp of America.
so like what product? What?
They were doing so funny you should mention it. They were the largest distributor of Metro dash kits.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they sold Metra, and of course all their butt connectors and zip ties and Stinger started back then. They also
Right.
had alarm systems called the Wall. They sold Street Glow Neon. They
Oh, so
had
it was a store then,
no. Okay. So Amp
or it was a
Global.
distributor always.
No, all right. So Amp Global started in the back of a dude's van, and his name will pop in my head in a minute. Because he was a really cool dude. He still does stuff, but um, he just sold install parts to the local guys here in Florida.
Right.
Because this is where it started. By the time I got involved in it, there was 4 salesmen, my guy and 3 others, and they just sat there and this like they had 4 desks next to one another. They hired scantily clad women of the night to answer the phones and also work the front desk. They had a huge warehouse in the back. and they just smoke cigarettes and like, hey, what you need? What do you need? What do you need? You know, and these
It's
guys.
it reminds me of like Atari in the 70s. That's Amp Global in the 90s.
Yeah, and it was, you know, and then like Micah Ansley. There, thank you, Brain. So Micah Ansley started it, and you know, he took it from this little tiny van to a bigger warehouse to this other facility that they still have part of right now. Like the warehouse is still in the original headquarters,
Yeah.
but they've moved the headquarters off to someone else. It's been sold at least a half dozen, if not a full dozen times. He sold it 3 times, I think, while he was the boss. There's 2 or 3 times. I think the third time is when they finally were like, all right, you're done.
Yeah.
Because he had sold it and stayed the president or whatever,
Right.
CEO. But you know, over time, their brand, you know, there was some infighting between, you know, Metra pissed off somebody, and that's where Best Kit came from. You know, Best Kit was an answer to that, where they decided, well, we're going to make our own kits. So, what's the stupid company they bought? They bought a kit maker, American International. So American International was like the runner up to Metra and Skosh. They made dog bowls and dash kits, and I think they still make dog bowls. But hey, it's money. But so they would buy kits from American International. They'd buy kits from Skosh. They'd make their own kits. And that's how Best Kits got started. And eventually they just bought all the companies that they were buying kits from, except Skosh. Nobody wants Skosh. Nobody wants Skosh.
Except Walmart.
Well, okay. What I'm saying is nobody wants to own Skosh.
Yeah.
They're like, okay.
No.
But Skosh is doing its own thing, and I have no problem with Skosh. I think they make some really nice stuff. I wish they'd do more of what they do, because they're really good at it.
Yeah.
Their kits have always been some of the nicest kits out there. But anyway, so Amp Global, you know, they had a line called Peripheral, which was basically rebranded Pack stuff. Some of it was rebranded Pack stuff, so they ended up buying Pack and took the Pack name, because at that point Peripheral was dead. Like nobody wanted to do anything with Peripheral, because at that time it was like 2 to get 1 to work kind of shit. And so Peripheral got thrown in the trash. Everything got relabeled as Pack, and they've, you know, over the course of years have become more of a technology company, and they've bought other companies. And so, you know, now the main core of, you know, and then it was Amp of America, and then they bought Konceptz 2 in Europe, and Konceptz 2 is there again, another huge manufacturer of dash kits and harnesses and interfaces, and they're also kind of like Amp in the early days, is that because they also distribute product. So Dean teaching moment.
This is a complicated web, man. It's
so
like
they sell, like, they're also a distributor for like Focal and a couple other brands like Pioneer and stuff like that in Europe. And there's some back end stuff there that we can't disclose, because they would be really pissed about it. But Konceptz 2 is who takes care of like Phoenix Gold in Europe, and that's why they can have their own European products.
They can have all the cool stuff while we.
They can have all the cool stuff and not worry about it. So that's when it became Amp Global,
right?
And because now they have, you know, shit all over the planet. They have a big facility out in California that they acquired when they bought Rosen, which was a drop-down entertainment thing. Which they then eventually, after that, just went belly up, because whatever.
Yeah, who does that anymore?
It wasn't that, but they ended up selling it to Vox, but they kept the building. They have another supply they have 2 other warehouses in the United States that they sell out of. But so when you look at the business of what Amp Global does now, has changed drastically from even 10 years ago, because their core business model was to be a one-stop shop, meaning
Right.
as a retailer, you could call them up. You could get your zip ties. You could get your screws, your butt connectors, your solder, your blades, your power wire. You could buy Phoenix Gold amplifiers and speakers, so you could have a product line that you could have easy access to. Your dash kits, your wiring harnesses, your interfaces. So it was like all the peripheral stuff that you need to do your job, you could buy from them.
Right.
And then over the last couple of years, that has changed with the advent of the Hi-10 and the Elevate, because they were like, oh shit, like we could just sell one product and make $1,000.
Yeah.
So there again, a lot of things have changed in Amp Global, and they're kind of trying to get away from, being the Walmart, and now they're picking and choosing the categories they want to be in a little bit more careful. That's why audio control is such a big appeal to them, because it's like, Phoenix Gold is dead. And the guy that, we won't get into that. Moving on.
Yeah.
So, now it's just a matter of putting all the pieces together and moving forward. But like, we kind of see the writing on the wall. Like the day of calling them up and getting a bag of zip ties and your alpha blades and your butt connectors and stuff like that, it's becoming harder and harder to do with them.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of frustrating. Like I had to go on Amazon and buy zip ties.
They switched from Walmart to Target on you.
I don't think it's Target. I mean,
above Target.
Yeah, I think it's straight up boutique, but I don't know. There again, it's one of those things where it's, hey, it isn't going to be the same. Which one puts a system in the Mustang or kicker releases solo X and he bets? Wow, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. That is really solid. Hopefully we'll get an answer to some maybe kind of answer to that. Monday we're gonna have Lori on.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have Lori from Kicker on. Bart's gonna be there. I don't know if he's gonna come on. It'd be nice to get him on because he gets riled up real easy. So those guys are gonna be in town on Monday for something. So we're gonna have him on the show.
Heck yeah! Did you just be like, hey, when am I getting a Solo X in these hands? Let me touch it.
I don't think they'll ever send us one, but
no.
Why would they?
You got the quad box first?
By pure freaking, and just because engineering wanted us to have it,
And it was a golden moment on 12V Talk with the sheer surprise and shock on Derek's face. It's like, be remembered forever.
It was a golden moment on everything. I mean, we had a great time with that. I mean, the cool thing about that was Instagram wasn't DRMing you, so we could play anything when we had that. Now Instagram DRMs the shit out of everything, and it's like,
I didn't know they never, because I wasn't. Well, I never stream on Instagram anyways, but
yeah, no, we could play anything back then. It was cool. Now they'll just shut the channel down. Yeah. We tried to do that with we tried to have some fun when we were doing the 4-inch Morels.
Yeah.
Like we were just like letting everyone hear them, and they were just like, stream has been shut down and removed. They will shut it down and remove it, and it's like, wow. Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah. Do you see when people? So I think it works. This is something I've just noticed on Facebook. People put up a video with music and it'll say, I do not own the rights to this music. Right? They put that in the text when they post it.
Right.
Their posts are staying up there. So for my math, it's like, because I put posts up there that had music that was, I just didn't put anything. I was at a place playing music. Boom, shut down instantly. So I don't know. I might be one of those. There's a lot of Facebook myths, so you never know what's
real, what's not. Yeah, there's a lot of those. A lot of like the 3-second rule. Like you could play 3 seconds of a song and you won't get nicked for it.
Right.
I ride that one. Like I've done that. Like
I do it too. Yeah.
When you listen to our, it's like that's why we always play those crappy YouTube songs. But I mean, I kind of like them now. They kind of,
Right. They've whittled their way into your brain.
I don't need to give props to the label, man. Screw that. I don't need to do research on this garbage. If I'm just I mean, our stream got shut down and pulled down when we were in Vegas because Orca was playing their new Focal Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah.
And my guy Nalika just started cranking the thing up, and it was like, shut the thing down. I was like, God damn it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I looked at him like, dude, you killed my channel.
I don't give a crap about the labels either. Like the artists, sure, the ones that actually done the work. The labels, the middlemen, no, I don't care about them at all.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Brian has an interesting question. I like that question. Like,
A
to
lot of
me,
people's it has.
that's a good question, man. Has your car audio
Yeah.
system influenced your taste in music? I'm gonna say for most people the answer is gonna be yes.
Yeah.
Just because, when you have a really nice sounding system, it gives you the capabilities to like sit back and maybe listen to something you've never listened to before, and just kind of, hey, this. Oh wow, this sounds good too.
Right. Oh,
That's
I've definitely listened to music because of that.
yeah.
But I will say, like, I still don't like bass music. Never have liked bass tracks unless there is exceptions. If the bass track is genuinely a good song, it has to be a good song on its own.
Well, I mean, I really don't see like, oh, you know what I want to do tonight? I want to I want to sip champagne and listen to Techmaster PEB.
Right. Yeah.
Computer Love. Oh,
Yeah.
out.
Well, if it was the actual Computer Love remix, then maybe. But still, no. I like the original. There is a few like bass I Love You. I just think it's got a cool beat to it, like dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
but what
dun.
I'm saying is like that. Hold on, I want to play this song. That's not the go-to. That's like, bro, check this out. Watch these woofers flex.
Yeah.
Watch them flex now.
And I always, dude, I always like, I would play like if I just wanted to show off, but if I'm
Yes.
playing music for myself, I would never.
No, because
You know,
why?
it's
What do you
like,
get out of it?
yeah.
I
And
mean,
I listen to a lot of music that sounds bad on even good systems, so it's just poorly recorded or whatever the case.
all right, El Fuego. I mean, all right. Here's what you got to know. When I listen to these systems, I am truly emotionally hooked onto this. Like, you guys have read me right on every, like, it reminds me of like when I listened to the Alpine truck, and somebody was like, bro, you could tell Dean didn't like it. And I'm like going, hey man, this sounds good. Well, the Alpine guy's sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I mean, fucking A, man. Listen, I was not kidding. If you ever get the chance to hear a Sage car, fuck me. He just, dude, he just makes your ears fucking bleed, and it sounds so good. Yes, it's incredible. That'll be in SEMA at the Focal house, but yeah, that's a whole nother story. No one will get to see it there, but no, dude, it's incredible. It was everything that you would expect out of K2s and more. I mean, it was fucking awesome. I will tell you the funniest part about that video that I really wanted to put in it, but I didn't because I know there'd be people that wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
So there was a ton of B-roll humor shit for like Haley would have loved to edit this movie because she would have just been like, I want to put this in at the end. I want to put this in at the end. Because dude, as soon as I turn on the camera, he goes, oh, okay, man, we got to make this quick because I got to take a shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, this ain't going to be quick, man.
Yeah.
Not going to be quick. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So, yeah, it was kind of funny.
He says,
Give Fernando a 1990s keyboard and 808 and then call a song cover. Dude, let me tell you what, you know how much he would love that? He would totally love that. So the Instagram annoying song that plays in the background of that is actually a Fernando song. He made that song.
Jam.
That's a Fernando jam. So
dude, I made out so much songs in what's that called on Apple? GarageBand?
Yeah, that's what he uses.
And I was using them on YouTube, right? Freaking scammers, they get on, so they use the same live loops and they'll put them on Spotify, which you can get on for free.
Right.
And then they can claim copyright to that. Because even though I've won a lot of those cases, but
Jesus.
by the time you win the cases, they were able to monetize or not have your video monetized for sometimes 2 or 3 weeks. So
Jesus.
it
Wow.
just wasn't worth it. That's why I quit using them.
Yeah. No, I just use straight YouTube.
Yeah.
Everything is just YouTube music. It's not
Yeah,
even
me
worth
too.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
No. It's their, you know, it's their grass.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna play in their yard, you know. I got a couple songs that I really like, and I'll use those depending on what's going on. And
Yeah.
you put up a poll, they said?
No, I didn't put up a poll this week.
Oh,
I was busy,
damn.
man. I was busy. I didn't. So see, I typically get off work at like 3 o'clock. It's where I used to get off work, but now I don't. But I went in way early. But now I don't get off work till 5
Oh my
ish.
God.
So that puts
Are
it a
you
little
working
closer.
a 9 to 5?
Oh man, legit. Yep.
That
Why do you think
sucks.
I got the button up on? The
I
button,
know.
the
I know.
collar.
I have our new Smash Force production shirt that
Oh,
Haley made
nice,
with the 5-star logo on the sleeve. Yeah. Yeah.
pro.
These are
Real pro.
for these are for next week's trip to Mobile Solutions, because we'll be there to film. So
Speaking of which,
yeah,
I will be at DB Drag next weekend. So
I
there is
know
no
that
show.
is so cool.
Yeah, it should be fun. We'll see.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be a blast, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a blast. Why not do a demo on a separate video with real music? Jim, that's what we did with the that's what we did when we did the Alpine, the F1 status. And it's not a bad idea. Like it worked out okay with that. And yes, at some point moving forward. So a lot of the times, if we can play our own music, because we have all our DRM free stuff on our phones. So if we can plug our phones in, great. And that we couldn't, because his phone was paired to the Bluetooth streamer in the car. And as I said, you had to take a shit. So we were kind of like, even though he talked a lot, we were kind of like, I was trying to be nice and not moving along. And so thinking that thought process just wasn't there. But no, that's not a terrible idea of doing just a separate video. Or the only problem with it is, and this is the reality, is like we did the Alpine thing, and tons of the comments were just like, bro, this sounds like shit, your mic is clipping and blah blah. And it's just like, that's
the thing. You got to make yourself happy, because you probably made this many people happy. This many people don't comment. That's like, I would say the vast majority. They're like, oh yeah, great.
right.
Then you have the people that are unhappy. The unhappy people almost always comment.
Right.
For whatever reason,
you know, the sad thing is like I was talking with Bill Frog, and because he's like, man, you should buy all this shit, and then you could get a really good recording. And I'm like,
why? Then I'll listen to it on their phone.
Yeah,
with the
I'm like,
speaker. I mean,
you know, he's like, you need to get these microphones, and they're really nice microphones. And I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea. And I was like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna spend $1,000 on microphones, like, for what?
For like, who are you gonna impress?
Not just that. It's like, I gotta make that money back. Shit. You know?
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough because you, like, ideally you probably would want to record it the best way you can record it and put it up the best way.
Yeah.
Then you'll deal with the YouTube compression, and there's just so many hurdles. And that's even saying that you had the time to actually play what you wanted to play. And people don't get, like, when you're filming a video at an event, time is not on your side. You can't just, there's often people waiting to either get in there and listen themselves. The people don't have time to do the demo. So you got to try to get what you can get.
Well, it was funny too, because towards the end of that, Nalika and this other gentleman came up to the window, and they were talking right outside the window. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. You know, we're literally trying to, it's not as good of a tax write-off as you would think. Trust me.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money to produce the show that we make. And
Yeah, all that does is it just cancels out this much of money that you
Yeah,
made.
not enough. Not
It's not
enough.
enough. No, it's not.
It's not enough. Trust me. It's
No.
nice, but it's not enough. We have plenty of tax write-offs.
Yeah.
But it's not enough of a tax write-off to get all that excited about, because it's not.
Right.
The show is not cheap to do, guys. If you hadn't, to do as much content as we create, we burn shit up.
Yeah.
That and Fernando wants every damn tool there is to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm eyeballing a new camera myself, so that's not going to be cheap.
It never is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there again, one of the things when we look at okay, that would be a great idea. All right.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do it, obviously you buy the right stuff to do it. But then you have to sit there and go, okay, how important is that? A lot of people just want, a lot of people don't necessarily care about the audio part of it. That's just this little tiny thing. Because I think we all know at this point that hearing the subs go is really all you want. You just want to see stuff move.
Right.
But having them talk all about it is more the interesting point.
Right.
Like Steve's video recently with Bobby, where they went Gately, and they went and they looked at that giant truck that they just built, and Gately talked all about all that stuff that they did to it. I don't want to hear that. I could care less. They did a hat trick, which was cool. I was just amazed at how much shit they put into this truck. Holy God. I'm freaking believable. Whoa. And that to me is the more interesting part. And so I guess when I do a video, I want to do it something that interests me. And I know that isn't always the best, but we have to, for sanity purposes, sometimes we have to do what we want to do. Just because then you just become a sellout,
and it becomes you don't want to do it as much if you start doing stuff you don't want to do.
Yeah, it's not fun anymore.
It's a cost benefit analysis. It costs this much. What is the benefit to the video?
Right.
And on some people, it's probably well worth it to them as their personal creators. But other people are trying to maybe tell a story, or some people want to be very perfect situation, like Aaron Hardison, test speakers. He spent a lot of money on a Clipple because what matters to him are the data, and to him that is the crux of every single thing he tests. So it was worth it to him to have all that data.
Oh yeah, I mean, and there again, that makes sense, and it's not like I'm going to put a Clipple in a car and do anything like that. And if there's a way to get better audio, but do it in a mobile fashion that we can do quickly, then it makes sense, But like you said, I mean, it's tough. It really is. I mean, these guys are, and the other thing too is it's how we're not going to get, you're not going to get this feeling of how this sounds. I mean, it might even sound worse. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's tough, man. I've never seen anybody portray bass truly how it feels. No. You can see it, but the audio portion of it, it's like you're never.
So the only way to actually capture it and have it sound good is to do it twice. So you do the first time you do it, you blast the shit out of it and do the hair trick.
Yeah.
And get everything moving. And then you go back, play the same song again, and this time you record the audio for it, but record it at about maybe a 16th of the volume.
Yeah.
So that the microphone and the camera can pick everything up. Yeah. Then you can overlay the two of them, and you can go back in and you can EQ it to where it sounds good and it's boomy, and voila, you have a audio track that sounds good and everyone's hair is moving.
That's why I record all the audio from mine at literally 1. It's 1 on the volume of the camera, because if you go to 0, it won't record anything. So
yeah. So we got a new video we're doing probably next week. That's gonna have the Morel 4-inch that we bought, or that they sent us to demo. We made the cool little boxes. We bought an AB switcher, so we play a couple different DRM free songs where we play like 30 seconds of this, and then, or a minute of this and a minute of that, and we AB between the two. We set it up. We did everything we could possibly do with what we have to try to get the best sound from it. We used a really nice mic, and we put a backdrop behind it to kill any road noise. And, we were sitting, everything was strategically placed and measured, and we'll see how that turns out,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, if, we were looking at the peak lights on the microphone. We're like, okay, so it doesn't clip.
You're going all, man. I'm thinking of the camera guy. He does audio and lighting stuff a lot. I can't think of his name, but he's always like, this is recorded at 24 LUFS, the European Broadcast Standard. Man, I can't think of his name.
Don't live in Europe.
Chris. It's Chris something.
Yeah.
Chris Winters. Something. I don't know.
And there again, you got YouTube videos out there with demos that don't clip. Yeah. I mean, no one wants to listen to that shit, though. Everyone wants it to clip. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Or you need to be like, Tiny Desk NPR, where you've mixed the shit out of it, and then your NPR, so YouTube is going to put up a high res version file of your music so that people will watch it because you're NPR and you have the ability to do that.
And if you're doing like the ones that don't clip, no one done that in one take and got it to flex like that. There's no way. Unless you're using a pad, like a 30 dB pad on your attenuation on your mic.
But see, that doesn't matter though, because the sound that is coming out is already distorted. Like, you can't. I mean, even if you're there, it's distorting in your ears.
Yeah.
So I mean, how? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean,
it's
tough,
got
me. Okay, I need a neutral density filter for my microphone.
There you go. Or put it in an aperiodic chamber. There you go. Try that.
Or just figure out what song they're using.
Yeah.
And then just play that song from the radio. I'd be like, dude, look at it move. Just like clap it right up. And be like, what song are you playing? I'll write that down.
Yeah.
There you
go. Yeah. You could definitely timestamp. You do the whole.
Yeah.
We'll match this up in post, and it's gonna sound sick.
Sounds sick. I mean, it's funny, when we were driving to Kicker, the song we played, which was Dead Mouse, whatever. Crypto bass or some shit like that. And the reason why we played that song was because the first 20 seconds was just. And there's highs that are playing, but the 6x9s that the truck had in it for highs or 6.5s, it couldn't keep up. So we could just play that song and not have to worry about nothing, because which you heard it. It's just like
freaking hear the bass, feel the bass.
Yeah. So that's whatever. It's all good. But that was the thing about the Bronco. It was just everything. KRX2s are no joke, man. Those things are just so effing loud, and they sound so
How much different are they? About the same from back in the day? Like the last pair that I had was like 99.
No, they're totally different. It's totally different. Okay. Yeah, no, it's totally different speaker. No. And they're awesome. It's funny. I had a guy, this was a couple of years back. We had a guy bring in his truck, and we did his truck, and he goes, dude, you're right. I said, what? He goes, you always say you just don't understand KRX2 or K2s until you've heard K2s. He goes, "You're right, man. These things are amazing." And I was like, "Man, it's just like it's, you know, like Focal as a company has an underlying sound,
Yeah.
that like they're known for, but each speaker has a little bit different, and K2 is one of those that, early on when we started using those, it was like, oh wow, these are different. These are definitely different. And as the line has evolved and they've evolved the speaker, it's like every
Yeah.
version of it just becomes a little more exciting and a little more exciting. I mean, they're already way excitable speakers, but it's like, holy shit, man.
And every one of theirs is defined by the kind of cone material that it uses.
And that is so that people don't copy them.
Well, tell PhD because they do the same thing. You
Yeah.
you haven't heard much PhD, have you?
I heard some of it when I was overseas.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
there's a
like an
couple guys that had
Italian.
them.
Yeah,
It looks really sexy. Like
right.
it's
It does.
definitely sexy shit. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about it.
I got one up here.
Oh, nice.
But they had some glue issues, so I got one, and one of the speakers, the magnet, literally fell off in the door.
There you go.
So that
They built
cool
for
cool
Chrysler.
one side, not cool on this side.
Yeah. Just glue it back on, man. Just glue it back on.
Right.
It's no big deal. You don't have to line it
Yeah,
up.
it'll work. It'll work.
It'll work. Just you're either a Focal person or a Morel person. It's like skateboard versus rollerblades. I mean, yeah, to some regards. It would be really interesting. I think a really cool test would be to take like a set of Focal flax
Yeah.
and put those like be able to A/B between flax and hybrid and
Right.
in the right environment just to see how much different
Using
those two
included
are.
passives or just speaker to speaker.
I think you'd want to. I think to be fair, you'd have to use included
I think so too.
passives.
I think that if I remember correctly, Focal plays their mids up a lot higher than most.
That's because they let the crossover do the natural roll off.
Right. And the tweeters crossover pretty high.
5,000.
Yeah.
It's always 5,000. So you don't blow them. But no, they let them roll off really, really high. Obviously, mid range has to play up to 5,000, whereas Morel is the opposite. Their tweeter plays down to like 2,200, so their mid range doesn't have to play up as high. So, with the Morel tweeter or a tweeter like that, so like a Dine or even the Ground Zero, a lot of these wide, I'm going to call it like a wideband tweeter. They play down so low, and it can be good or bad. Like that can be good or bad. Sometimes you have to be careful because it's like
there's a cliff. You can go over the cliff.
Well, it sometimes it just doesn't sound right. Like when we put the the Ground Zeros in Fernando's car, the uraniums, we were crossing them over almost like little low, like a little low, and it's like we were like, yeah, we should. Jeff got in there and he's like, try bumping it up like 500 hertz and let's see what it sounds like. And it was like, oh shit, yeah, that's a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I prefer my tweets to play a little lower than 5, but I've heard systems with both kinds where they're crossed up high that sounded great, where they're crossed low sounded great.
Yeah, it just depends. There again, it depends on where the mid range is in correlation to the tweeter. So
yeah,
there's a lot going on there. No power acoustic, man. The last thing they were known for was selling drugs.
And they had the fake Moscone amps. Do you remember those? They literally copied the design. Mosphony, as it were.
Dean's money. Now you're starting to sound like Fernando.
Oh man.
No, actually, Fernando's the one with the K2s. I don't have any of that stuff. So
yeah, Fernando's got some. He's got some toys.
Audio Frog GB15 crossed over at 3K. I believe it is something like that. Yeah, dude. Listen, Audio Frog. Whatever Andy tells you to do it. That's it. Plain and simple. If Andy says cross it over here, just do it. Just don't do many shit.
He's already thought about it.
Yeah, he's already thought about it. He's already done it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna sound good. You know, I truly love the way the Audio Frog stuff sounds. You know, it's never ever disappointed me.
I've only heard a few Audio Frog systems, but they did sound good.
Yeah.
The ones that I have heard. All right.
Well, that's the show. No show next week because you're going to be on a big old jet airliner.
Right. I'm going to be
flying
flying
out to see Big D Wiz.
Going to hang out. The artist formerly known as Big D Wiz.
He'll always
just Derek now. I know.
He'll always be Big D Wiz, man.
That's
like
he knows it.
Yeah, it's just like us being like, we don't want to be 5-star anymore. It's like, no, we'll always be 5. Fernando goes, we need to change it. You know, something. I go, dude, we'll always be 5-star. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, Smash Force Productions is the company. It doesn't. It'll never be anything other than 5-star. It's okay, man. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we like him screwed up. Williston Auto Labs just doesn't have the same ring. You know.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah.
Prince will always be Prince, not a symbol.
Yeah.
Derek will always.
I think I did mention that to him when he changed it.
Yeah.
As well. So.
Yeah, he'll always be Big D. I mean, some of the new kids might go, "Hey, what's up, Derek?" No, always be Big D.
Yeah, the old school guys know.
Yep, always gonna be Big D. All right, guys. Well, that's the show. Sorry, no show next week, but hey, you know, the week after we'll be back and we'll have a poll.
Polls most likely.
Aren't polls always fun? You guys have a great rest of your week. Have a great next week. We'll be thinking of you. As far as I'm concerned, tune into us as much as you can because we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun. We hope to do some lives. So
yeah, and one shot Jag. We're talking about a Abercrombie movie.
Oh, dude, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Yes.
There's some juiciness.
All right, let's just move on.
We'll
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.